Last time, you remember, Rocky was chasing Bullwinkle through the water system of Frostbite Falls. Little did he know that high above him, the moose was stuck in an irate citizen's shower nozzle. Fortunately, the irate citizen spun the tap wide open, shooting Bullwinkle out of the pipes entirely.
Thanks a mil, friend.
But you're over 6 feet tall. How could you get through a little skinny water pipe?
I held my breath.
Superintendent, help!
Well, if you're gonna act like that, goodbye.
Now, what's the matter? What's the matter? You got enough hot water, haven't you?
I just found a moose in my shower.
A mouse in your shower?
Not a mouse, a moose!
Maybe you ought to switch to cold showers for a while. I never heard of anything so...
Hey, either of you ladies seen a moose go by here?
Ladies!
That way.
Thanks.
Do you realize that a squirrel just came out of the shower, called us ladies, and acted as if a moose went by?
And there's a good reason for it.
What?
His goggles were all steamed up.
Oh.
It was true. With his goggles all foggy, Rocky walked right past Bullwinkle without even seeing him.
Hey, Rocky!
Bullwinkle, is that you?
It was when I got up this morning.
I must be getting nearsighted. You sure look fuzzy.
Well, let's face it, Rock. I am fuzzy.
Meanwhile, at the dry lake bottom, Boris and Natasha were still trying to break into the enormous treasure chest.
Oh, it's no use, Boris. We can't do it.
Well, I guess we'll have to use a Pennsylvanian persuader.
A Pennsylvania persuader, what's that?
2 pounds TNT in a 1 pound bag with instructions.
Oh.
Let's see. Instructions say, place bag next to object to be persuaded.
Check.
Light fuse.
Check.
Then it says, caution, this persuader has...
Has what?
Just a minute. It's in small print. Oh, caution, this persuader has... a quick-burning fuse.
But though the explosive did a good job on Boris and Natasha, it didn't faze the treasure of Montezuma.
Perhaps we should ask ourselves, Natasha, is it worth all the effort? Is a cheesy $1 million treasure worth getting blown up for? Is $1 million really that important? Is money everything?
I give up, darling. Is it?
You bet it is. Get back to work.
But unbeknownst to the two eager villains, our heroes were dashing to the scene of the crime.
Why are we dashing thusly?
Because the criminal always returns to the scene of the crime.
I don't want to destroy your childlike faith, Rock, but we're not the criminals.
No, but when the real criminals do return to the scene of the crime, we'll catch them red-handed. Do you follow me?
I have to. We're on the same bicycle.
Meanwhile, the wily Boris had rigged up a primitive block and tackle and dragged the enormous treasure chest to a high bluff overlooking the dry lake.
Now, as soon as we cut the cable, chest drops down onto those rocks, splits wide open.
And?
Happy days are here again. Hey!
Well, as luck would have it, our heroes chose that moment to pedal their bicycle across the bottom of the dry lake and right under the enormous chest.
Natasha, do my eyes deceive me?
They wouldn't dare.
It's fantastical. We get to open up treasure chest and shut up moose and squirrel at the same time.
Oh, you're such a lucky schnook.
Well, you know what I always say. Somebody down there likes me.
And Boris prepared to snip the cable and send the treasure chest hurtling down on our heroes. Don't miss our next rather unpleasant episode, Boris Bashes a Box or the Flat Chest.
There was no such thing as monotony in merry old England, for whenever things got dull, good King Arthur would hold a tournament. Eventually, one solitary knight emerged victorious to receive the plaudits of his king. On this particular occasion, it was a gallant but rotund fellow named Circumference.
Splendid performance, Circumference.
Oh, thank you, Your Grace. Oh, that last chap was rather sturdy. I had to smash him with the mace.
It was discovered to everyone's horror that last chap was not a chap at all, but rather Queen Guinevere.
Oh, no wonder he wore a dress.
I've a good mind to denight you. Instead, I shall send you to Chickenshire.
Chickenshire, the most cowardly town in the nation, was well named.
Run for your lives! There's a lion in the streets!
Actually, it was a 3-week-old kitten. Circumference and his wife set up housekeeping in a large but run-down castle on the edge of town. Each day, one or more chicken Shirians would run up to the drawbridge, grab the trumpet that hung from a tree, and let go with a deafening blast.
What's the trouble?
It's raining.
Is that all?
Is that all? We might drown.
It was occurrences like that turned a once proud knight into a lazy loafer.
Well, are you just going to sit there? Someone's blowing the trumpet.
Let 'em blow.
The years went by, and the only fighting Circumference did was with his wife. Not too far from Chickenshire, about a stone's throw and a half, sat an institution of learning, a college, and a highly unorthodox college, for this was Dragon U, where dragons of all shapes and sizes studied in the art of combat. Oh, look, I see. We're just in time for graduation exercises.
And so, it is with the utmost pride that I hand out these diplomas.
Dragon after dragon took his scroll, received a heartfelt claw shake, and left the stand, all but one, named Milo.
Where's my diploma, sir?
I'm afraid you flunked again, Milo.
But gosh, Dean, I've been a senior for 40 years, and I still haven't graduated.
Calculus, Milo. You're weak in calculus.
There must be some way I can become a full-fledged dragon.
There was. According to the Dragon Magna Carta, a dragon could slay 13 knights and thus attain dragonhood.
But to prove that you've slain 13 knights, you must bring me 13 helmets.
It was either that or another semester, so Milo set out to slay 13 knights.
I wouldn't know a knight if I saw one.
His meanderings eventually took him to a tiny hamlet where he spotted something of great interest.
Helmets by Dantine.
There, nestled snugly beneath a tree, stood a helmet shop.
That's it. I'll buy 13 helmets and give 'em to the dean and tell him I tooken him off 13 knights, which I slewn in fierce combat.
2 weeks later in the dean's office.
10, 11, 12. Milo, there are only 12 helmets here.
Why, that dirty?
One more, my boy. One more helmet. Oh, and the helmet I should like you to get belongs to a knight named Circumference.
And much as he hated it, Milo set off to procure his 13th helmet, the hard way.
There they go again.
It's not one of the villagers, lovey. It's a dragon.
All my days are dragon. But I'll take a look. What do you want?
Put on your helmet, O knight, and we shall do battle.
Go away.
I said, bring down your battle axe.
My wife stays here.
This gave the desperate beast an idea. Under cover of darkness, he stole into the castle and made off with Circumference's wife. The next day...
So, you took my wife, huh? So what?
Well, doesn't that make you mad?
Are you kidding?
Okay, then I'll bring her back.
That made Circumference mad. Jumping into his armor, he rushed out of the castle and engaged the dragon in mortal combat. The battle lasted for days. Finally, after 2 weeks of bitter, unending struggle...
Hey, this is work, you know.
Yeah, more than I've done in years. Look, dragon.
Milo.
Look, Milo. Why are you after my scalp?
Oh, it isn't your scalp, it's your helmet. You see...
And Circumference was filled in on his opponent's plight.
Well, if that's all you want, here.
Milo couldn't believe his eyes. He now had the 13th helmet.
Oh, I'm proud of you, my boy.
It was nothing, Dean.
Let me see. 13 helmets. Yes, they're all here.
Can I have my diploma now?
Well, there is one small formality.
Oh?
According to the Magna Carta, you must now eat the 13 helmets.
You're kidding.
Read it.
Dear, 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 poor Milo. He ate every last one of those helmets. And after eating them, he wasn't much good for anything. You might say he had one too many nightcaps.
treasure of Montezuma may be worth $1 million, but it doesn't look as if anybody's going to collect it. For the enormous treasure chest has so far resisted the efforts of Boris and Natasha to pry it open, chop it open, even blow it open.
Let's face it, Boris, we need a safe cracker.
We got a safe cracker.
Whom?
Meme, that's whom.
Boris, you know how to crack a safe.
Sure, Mike. You just lift the safe up in the air like this, and when you cut the cable...
Yes?
Crack!
Oh, that's straight thinking, darling.
And for me, straight thinking is tough.
Why?
I got a crooked mind.
Well, as luck would have it, our heroes chose that moment to pedal their bicycle built for two right under the hanging chest.
Gee, I don't see any sign of those two spies, Bullwinkle.
What spies are those, Rock?
The spies who drained this lake.
This is a lake?
Oh, boy, have you forgotten the plot again?
In a word, you said it.
That's 3 words.
I'm a heavy tipper. Now, what's the plot?
Here, I'll draw you a picture.
And all unaware of the frightful fate hanging over their heads, Rocky began to draw pictures to bring Bullwinkle up to date on our story.
We were bird watching, remember?
Yeah.
We saw 2 spies ready to blow up the dam.
Yeah.
We put out the fuse.
Good for us.
One of them disguised himself as an actor named Spencer Traceback.
My favorite.
Then he slickered you into pulling a big plug out of the bottom of the lake.
Shame, shame.
Revealing a big treasure chest.
This is the exciting part.
And we went down the drain together.
Wowie!
And now we're back here looking for the 2 spies.
Well, that is a dandy... Hey, what did you draw above us there?
That's the treasure chest that's hanging over our yike.
Hanging over our yike? That's an odd place to...
Bullwinkle, out of the way!
I can't, Rock. Something happened. I can't move.
Go on, Boris, cut the rope.
I'm trying.
What's the matter?
The snippers must be dull.
Here, darling, try this.
What is it?
Is my switchblade nail file.
And Boris leaped on top of the chest and began sawing at the rope.
Run, Bullwinkle!
I can't. I must be froze with fear.
No, you're not. You're standing on your own foot.
Doesn't everybody?
I mean, your right foot is standing on your left foot.
Oh, okay. Break it up down there.
And our heroes dashed out of the way just as the rope let go.
Good work, Boris.
But unfortunately for Boris, he'd forgotten he was still on top of the chest. And what's more, as it fell, the chest turned over so Boris was underneath it.
Don't worry, darling. Remember, this is just cartoon. Boris, are you all right?
Natasha, I just found out what happens when a cartoon chest falls on a cartoon character.
What?
It hurts.
And what's more, darling?
What could be what's more?
The chest still isn't open.
Fooey and double fooey.
That voice, Bullwinkle. Where have I heard that voice?
I heard something like it once when I dropped the chicken bone in the garbage disposal.
That does it, Natasha. Come on. We're going to get an A-bomb.
A-bomb?
A-bomb, come on.
Did you hear that, Bullwinkle?
Sure, they repeated it twice.
Do you know what A-bomb means?
Certainly. A-bomb is what some people call our program.
I don't think that's so funny.
Neither do they, apparently.
And while our heroes engage in airy persiflage, the 2 villains are on their way. Don't miss our next explosive episode, 1, 2, 3, Gone, or I've Got Plenty of Nothing.
Hello there, you wool gatherers. Today's poem is the old classic, Maury Had a Little Lamb.
Maury? That's Mary.
You're a boy, aren't you?
Yeah, but...
Okay, Maury had a little lamb. It's really me, folks. Its fleas were white as snow.
Its fleas were white as snow.
They're albino fleas. I got 'em at... Oh, little rascals got away. Where was I?
And everywhere.
Oh, yeah, and everywhere that Maury was... Oh! Went the... Oh! Hey, what's going on?
Those fleas are biting you, Bullwinkle.
Oh! Ah!
You better get out of that sheepskin.
I can't. The zipper's stuck. Oh!
Well, hold still, Bullwinkle. I'll shear you.
Oh! That's my own personal pelt you're sniffing.
Well, here, maybe this'll do it.
So if you have a little lamb, just take a tip from me. If it has fleas as white as snow...
Just use some DDT.
Yeah.
Hello out there. Peabody, Sherman, and Wayback here.
He's Mr. Peabody.
He's Sherman, and if the Wayback could talk, it would tell you that it's the Wayback. Today, Sherman and I are going to explore the five senses.
You mean like taste, smell?
No, Sherman. The five senses as in nickel. Specifically the Indian head nickel, and we shall be on hand to help in the engraving of the first coin of that kind.
The year?
1869.
The place?
The plains of Wyoming. We entered the Wayback Machine and were promptly transported to our destination, and there, standing behind his easel, stood the noted artist and engraver, Talbot Heffelfinger.
Hi, Mr. Heffelfinger. How's the Indian head coming?
See for yourself, son.
You can imagine our surprise when we saw an excellent likeness of Mahatma Gandhi.
That's wrong, Mr. Heffelfinger.
He's an Indian, isn't he?
Well, yes, but the wrong variety.
Look, I've been commissioned by the government to paint a picture of an Indian head, and so far the only one I've seen was a fella named Tonto, who was on his way to Hollywood.
Mr. Peabody can find an Indian for you to paint. Can't you, Mr. Peabody?
As usual, Sherman's faith in me was justified. We packed up Talbot Heffelfinger's equipment and adjourned to the nearest fort.
I'd like to help you, but there ain't no Injuns around here.
Oh, yes, there are, and I'll show you how we can meet one. I built a small fire, borrowed an army blanket, and proceeded to send a column of smoke into the sky.
I tell you, you're wasting your time.
I never waste my time. Suddenly, the silence of the vast plains was split with the cries of war whoops.
Indians! We're being attacked!
Indeed we were, but by one lone brave.
I don't get it. How'd you force that Injun into attacking us?
The smoke signal. There in the sky, directly over the fort, were the words, Custer won. I knew that would make any Indian mad. All right, Mr. Heffelfinger, go out and ask him to pose. Unfortunately, however, this was to be a still life portrait, and the Indian was anything but still.
I've got it! I've got it!
All he got was the tail end of the horse.
That isn't good enough?
Hardly.
Gee, Mr. Peabody, he'll never be able to paint with a horse running around like that. How can we get the horse to stop?
Well, that's simple, Sherman. Just say, whoa.
Whoa!
But although the horse desisted, the Indian didn't.
Too bad there isn't something to make a human stop.
Ah, but there is. In a matter of minutes, I had constructed a stoplight. Now, Mr. Heffelfinger, paint your subject. The highly elated artist threw himself into his work and 1 hour later returned with the finished product.
It's the best thing I've ever done.
It was quite good. That is, if you care for stoplights.
You didn't paint the Indian.
Indian?
There was no other course but to try it over again, but by this time the Indian had tired of the attack.
He's gone.
But not forgotten. Sure enough, there were moccasin prints leading off into the wilderness.
I think I'll just mail in the picture of Mahatma Gandhi and forget it.
I'm afraid that won't do, Talbot. With me leading the way, naturally, the hunt was on. Shortly before sundown, we reached an embankment overlooking an Indian village.
Indians! Hundreds and hundreds of Indians!
Please, Mr. Heffelfinger, restrain yourself, or you'll get us captured.
You same paleface who try painting my picture, you beginning to bug me.
Yes, but Chief, your picture will be on every nickel in the United States.
And in Canada, too.
Tell 'em you what. You beat 'em strongest warrior in village, you get 'em paint my picture.
I'll do it. Who is your strongest warrior?
Standing Bear.
He was standing all right, and he was a bear.
But I can't fight a real bear.
Of course you can, Talbot. Do as I say, and you're sure to win. And with that, the valiant artist entered into the fray. He was obviously outclassed.
What now, Peabody?
Make it 2 out of 3. Make it 3 out of 5. 5 out of 7. Now make it 75,000 out of 4,298,000.
I can't do it. I can't go on any longer.
You won't have to, sir. Look at your adversary.
He won, Mr. Peabody.
He didn't win me, Sherman. He won the fight. Curious thing about bears, after fighting 1 or 2 days, they seem to lose their stamina. Talbot Heffelfinger, on the other hand, was full of vim and vigor and proceeded to paint the head of the Indian chief.
He's a chief, Mr. Peabody?
Why, yes, the most famous of all the Hanka Indians. Don't tell me you've never heard of the Hankas.
Oh, I've heard of them all right, but I never heard of him.
You've never heard of Hanka Chief?
Boris tried to drop the treasure of Montezuma on our heroes, but wound up hoist with his own petard. Meanwhile...
Hold it! What means this hoist with my own, what's this?
It means you fell into your own trap.
Oh, well, why didn't you said so? Okay, let's go.
Finally, in desperation, he and Natasha set out to find an A-bomb to blow up the chest.
Gee, that must be a pretty valuable treasure, Bullwinkle.
Big, anyway.
Maybe we could get that chest open.
Well...
Of course, those spies tried hammering it and chopping it, blowing it up, dropping it off a cliff.
Well...
So how can we open it?
Well...
What do you think, Bullwinkle?
Well...
What's your considered opinion?
If you'd stop talking, I'll tell you.
Well, I was just trying to build up a little suspense.
Why don't we just try turning the key?
The key?
Yes, right there in plain sight was a key. And when Bullwinkle turned it, the entire box flopped open, revealing at last the treasure of Montezuma.
Whoa! A 1903 Apperson jackrabbit.
That's a treasure.
Isn't it, though?
I must say, I'm disappointed.
Well, then go ahead.
What?
Say it.
Okay, I'm disappointed.
And I'm Bullwinkle.
Yeah, I know. Well, I guess the only thing we can do is drive it into town and turn it over.
What?
To the authorities.
Oh.
How do we start it?
Well, it says right here on the instruction sheet, let's see, stand in front of machine, seize crank, spin crank sharply. First, making sure car is out of gear. Hey, Rock, wait up!
And so when Boris and Natasha returned to the scene...
We couldn't find an A-bomb, not even a war surplus one.
Boris, look! Somebody beat us to the treasure.
Raskolnikov!
But at that moment, Boris's sharp eyes spotted the instruction sheet that Bullwinkle had dropped. I say, at that moment, Boris's sharp eyes had spotted the...
I heard you!
Well?
I can't see it anywhere.
It's right under your nose.
You're crazy. It's nowhere inside.
Boris, darling.
Invisible ink I can find.
Boris.
Invisible papers? No.
Darling.
What is it, Natasha?
You are sitting on it.
Oh. You said it was under my nose.
Sorry.
What does it say?
It says the treasure was really just an old car. Oh, boy. Lucky we got a regular job to fall back on.
What's that?
Breaking windows at the UN building. Let's go.
Oh, if those two villains had only seen the license plate of that car, they would...
What? What's that whispering? What was that?
Nothing. Nothing at all.
We got ways of finding out, you know.
Ways of... How?
Easy. We run program backwards and forwards again. Like this.
Oh, if those two villains had only seen the license plate of that car...
That's what you said. Natasha, what's with the license plate?
It's only a number, Boris.
What number?
14K.
14K. What? 14 carat? Natasha, 14 carat. That car is solid gold. Come on.
Oh, what have I done?
You have just signed death warrant for a moose, darling.
Oh, dear.
And stretch the whole plot out for 2 more episodes.
And we'll see one of them next time called All That Glitters or Baby, It's Gold Outside.